Okay, so I'm lit. Let's talk about softboxes. This looks like a softbox, you know, it's a very standard look. I'll give you a hint, it's not a softbox. Can you tell what I'm doing? Let me show you. So instead of a softbox, I've actually found a different solution, and that is, I don't know if you can tell, that is an umbrella. That is a stills photography umbrella. It's still a video light, but yeah, that's a stills umbrella. So. And I want to talk about why I actually prefer working with umbrellas over softboxes, because I like them. I'm into them. So I actually have two. So for the sake of that, let me bring in a demonstration so I don't mess up my lighting. So here's just another stand with a light on it, your standard, you know, video light. This is a 42-inch photograph umbrella. This is a convertible style, which means not only does it have reflection in the middle, but it actually has diffusion in the middle too, so you can actually take off this outer reflective piece. Very useful. I'll talk about why in a minute. You open this up, and if you look, most of these new lights, and a lot of old lights since the beginning of time, have this little hole, and that's for a umbrella holder. So we can pop the umbrella holder, pop the umbrella on there, and what I like to do, come on, there we go. What I like to do is I like to put my lights on a grip head. I know a lot of people do like to just put them on the stand, but for the sake of what I'm doing, I like to put them on a grip head, especially in this situation, because now you can't really pivot the light. You have to sort of just do it the way the stand is facing. So if you have a grip head, you can change the angle and the direction of the light itself. And so bam, there's your softbox. Furthermore, if you really want to go for it and you want that diffusion layer on the outside, because my other one didn't have it, you can get that too. And so I think I paid like 25 or 30 bucks for a 2-pack of these, and then another like 20 something, 28 bucks for 40 inches of diffusion. So you kind of got to get them to the right size of your umbrella. I have a 40, and that's like a 42 or a 41, so that fits, but don't get like a 35 diffusion and a 41. That's not going to work. But yeah, you just pop on the diffusion, you just sort of thread it. It's kind of a weird system, and then you can open the umbrella inside the diffusion, and with a little luck, there you go, there's your big softbox. So, and it just sits right on that yoke. And this one actually is not completely circular on purpose because it likes to put the light on top. This is originally for still photography. You would put like a flash and a bracket inside of this, but it's the same stuff. And with these LEDs, they don't get hot. It's really nice. I wouldn't do this with incandescents because that's how you start a fire, but yeah, just one of those. And there's your softbox. But instead of the direction of the light being the direction of the softbox, it's actually reversed. And so this is where the softbox is facing. Part of the reason why I like it so much, I could back this up so we can see it, is all the weight ends up on the stand, not on the yoke. And so usually when you're doing a Bowens mount thing, this is the Bowens mount, so the softbox will sit on the end of this, and so it's very nose heavy, and all the weight is being held by this clamp right here. And if you've ever handled heavy softboxes or long softboxes or just heavy modifiers, the chances of this just giving way and doing this, very, very high. And so as like a side bonus, these umbrellas don't do that, or at least this one doesn't. I've seen other designs where the umbrella's mount is actually connected to this, and so the yoke does hold it. But in this particular case, the yoke is its own thing, and the stand that the yoke is connected to is what's holding the umbrella. So very, very useful. My only complaint about this design, other than the fact that I like to use a grip head in order to stabilize it, is I haven't really figured out a good sort of egg crate design. They don't really make an egg crate like this, and so I've just been flagging stuff off, if that means anything to you. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas for putting an egg crate on this, just let me know. But because I know most softboxes ship with egg crates these days. So yeah, so there's your softbox for a lot less, but more importantly, softboxes only kind of do one thing, which is what frustrates me, because I like my gear to do as many things as possible, especially if it packs small, because these pack really small. This isn't just a softbox. This acts like a softbox when it wants to, but what it's actually used for traditionally is diffusion. And so it's a giant diffusion umbrella That's why you got to get the convertible style and not just the shoot through style or the reflector style, because you want to be able to take the outer layer off just by pulling on these pins. All right, and the outer layer comes off, and there's your shoot through umbrella. And all of a sudden, what was a softbox is now an area light, or lanterns are really popular these days. This is sort of like a poor man's lantern. I know Aperture sells those really, really nice lanterns that don't fold very small. They kind of just sit the same shape as a tripod. There's your lantern. And it, you can make it as big or as small as you need to. If it needs to be a little bit more like a smaller cross section, you can do something like that, maybe tape it down. But traditionally you just want to have it like that. That's the game. The other thing that I found so useful for this sort of like old school like umbrella system, other than the fact that it's compatible with old stuff, which is what was so awesome about these new COB lights, is they're compatible with everything just because of that Bowens mount. The umbrellas are very much the same way. And so you don't have to, if you don't want to use, or if you don't have a proper chip on board video light, you could use other legacy photography accessories. So let me take that off. Yeah, this is just your standard flash umbrella holder. So your flash would go on here either with a cold shoe or a 1/4-20, because this little guy comes out. And then this end goes on to the stand, and the umbrella goes through right here. So pop it on. And these are like $8. That's what's so crazy, is I wouldn't put a huge amount of weight. This is probably the biggest umbrella I would put on one of these, just because they're not very big and they're really only designed for those lightweight flashes. But yeah, there's your diffusion, or your reflector, or your softbox, however you want to use it. And there's one more piece of kit that uses umbrellas, which I actually use a lot more because I like shooting with tungsten bulbs. Again, never enclose tungsten or incandescent bulbs, because that's how you catch things fire, because they get hot. But this is a Bowens mount flash holder. So it's got the Bowens mount, and this clamp clamps down on what's usually those horizontal flash heads. But I've just stuffed a bulb with a cord on it, and we're going to use that. And I do this all the time because I like to use Bowens mounts with this kind of thing. But like the rest of these, this thing has an umbrella holder in it. And advantage or disadvantage, it doesn't have it where it's on the base like the chip on board light. It actually rotates with the rest of the assembly. So you put the umbrella on, and you can change the angle of the flash. And there you go. There's your shoot through. There's your softbox once again. But the only thing about this is, with incandescents or anything that gets hot, you don't want to close them off, because that creates fire. And so it's just good not to do that. Short of that, so let's talk about takeaways. Well, I mean, if you're looking into softboxes, you kind of know what they're used for. I really like the look that they make, because they make this sort of like diffused directional look, which can be made many different ways. You're not going to see softboxes on big film sets necessarily, because they have other ways of doing it, but it's very useful. The thing I don't like about softboxes is they kind of only do one thing, whereas these umbrellas do, I'd say, 2 to 3 things, depending on how you're counting. And they also do something very useful, which is the lantern effect, which, if you need to spread out light as far as you can do that with bouncing stuff, making taco lights or making bookcase lights. But this is quick, and most importantly, it breaks down to nothing. And so yeah, for the cost of I'd say like a decent or an okay softbox is what, like 50, 60 bucks. This is the whole kit. If you're gonna go Aperture, if you're gonna go name brand, that's a couple $100. You could have numerous amounts of these kit for the same price. And so there's a time and place for every piece of equipment. And as much as I respect and appreciate sort of the bespoke stuff like softboxes and lanterns and space lights and area lights and all this kind of stuff, sometimes it's just better to have simple equipment that you can trust and doesn't cost $1 million. So what do you guys think? How did I do? Let me know. See ya.